Good morning, everybody. Uh, distinguished, distinguished speakers, Mr. Rajat Kumar Saini, Chief Executive Officer, Managing Director of NICDC, Chairman, NICDC Logistics Data Services, Mr. Vineet Majgaonkar, Chairman of CII Institute of Logistics Staff Forum, and Chairman and Managing Director of Armstrong Dramatics, Mr. Abhishek Prakash, CEO of Biomar India. Am I pronouncing it right, sir? Dr. K. Ganesh, member of the CII's National Committee of Logistics and partner for McKinsey and Company. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. It is my pleasure to welcome you all for this great conference called Logistics Tomorrow, Move Nation. It is also my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Rajat Kumar Saini, CEO and MD of NICDC. Mr. Rajat Saini is an IAS officer of 2007 batch of the Telangana corridor. He assumed charge of NICDC as CEO and MD in 2023. Before NICDC, he was holding positions. Well, you know, आपको पहले सोचना चाहिए था. You know, you've accomplished so many things. I must make sure that. All right. Let me. On request of Mr. Saini, I'll skip the part of introductions, but let me just jump to. You can introduce others if you want. I'll come to individual instructions when I'm calling each one of you, but let me just kind of set the tone for today's conference. But since the conference title is Logistics Tomorrow, may I please take this moment to kind of step back and talk about what's happening or what has gone behind us. If we were to take a step back from today, I think something reminds me about what has been happening, or rather, I'm sure almost all of you have read today's newspaper, which says that the price of oil on a per barrel has gone to more than 100 as of yesterday. So it reminds me of something which happened some years back, and I just kind of circle back. The last time, and if you take this period of the last about month or so away, the last time such an issue happened was close to, I think, about 2022 when Russia-Ukraine conflict started. But the real, that of course was a very short splurge of, a short spurt of when the, price of per barrel crossed 100 mark. But the real dominating change that happened where the price of barrel crossed about $145 to a barrel was somewhere in the range of, I think, about 2008, if I'm not wrong, 2008 July or something. The price at that time was about $145 to a barrel. At that point in time, we were importing, I think, give or take about 90 million barrels a year. At $140, that will give close to about $140 billion worth of import. In 2008, our country's economy was close to about $1 trillion. So at 14% of our GDP, that really hurt us. That really pinched. Fast forward to what is happening today. What is happening today is that the price per barrel for dollar terms is about 100 plus. But even if we were to say fast forward it to say 140, take that simulation for a minute, and then multiply that by the consumption that we have today. Our current consumption is about 1.7 billion barrels per year. Multiply that and you'll have a rough back of the envelope calculation. That's about $250 billion. Today, give or take, our economy is $4 billion or thereabouts. At this rate, the cost of oil imports to us is close to about 7%, give or take about 7%. So at this rate, I think the affordability, it is not pinching that hard at an national economic value. But the real hurt where it is happening today is, even when you can afford it, even when it is not pinching you. Our current account deficit, by the way, is also much convenient. It used to be about close to about 2.5% at that point in time. Today is under 1%. But even in this backdrop, even when we are able to afford it, it is that availability which is actually pinching us even bigger, right? Even when we can afford the gas, we are not able to import it. The Hormuz crisis is showing us how supply chains gridlocks can actually choke your free flow of production or free flow of goods movement across. So in that sense of not being able to provide the goods at the right time has actually is basically front and center of India's troubles today. It brings me to something that I was discussing with one of my clients as late as yesterday. And I want to just set that tone for you guys for discussing in the course of this session as well as course of the day. So this client of ours I met yesterday told me about how they have somehow been able to hold on to not necessarily the price rise hit, not really absorbing the price rise hit, because of the fact that they were holding about 40-45 days of raw material inventory. And some of their competitors, apparently much better and much efficiently placed, had kept their inventories at about 6 or 7 days in just-in-time kind of basis. So ironically, those who were very well performing or very well efficiently operating before the conflict started are actually now suffering because they've had to buy raw materials at a much higher price. Those who were somehow, if I was to call it, inefficiently operating, have large stockpiles of inventory for whatever inadvertent reasons, are actually, unfortunately or fortunately, not really feeling the hit of price rise in the current moment. So you'd actually have to wonder whether holding more inventory is anyhow better, for situations of such nature or not. With that as a backdrop, I'm not really proposing something of this kind. Clearly, please don't take it that way. But with that as a backdrop, I must have this conference, or have some of you discuss during the course of the conference things as to what is appropriate, what is best for much longer term and not just the short term. So logistics tomorrow is not just about what is going to happen exactly tomorrow, but something which is going to happen maybe over the course of the mid and the short term. With that, and on Mr. Saini's advice, I must now first request Dr. K. Ganesh to step up and present us with his presentation that he has for us today.
Thanks, Mr. Anil, for setting the tone for the conference. Very good morning, everyone. Very glad to be here. Every time when I come to the CII conference, I feel great. The topic today is Logistics Tomorrow, Move Nation. I think very important topic, how we actually going to move the nation, especially with a integrated, I would say digitally integrated logistics. That's what I think is important, right? So at least today, my intention is to kind of tell you what is evolving in the space of logistics from a digital aspect, right? So I know we have done a digital automation and so on and so forth. Everything has been done. And we also in the race of AI, before we understand AI, we move to Gen AI. Before we understand the reality of Gen AI, we move to something called Agentic AI. I think my intention is for the next 5-6 minutes, what is the logistics tomorrow from an Agentic AI point of view? That is my intention. Many companies are trying to understand this, taking to the next level. Let me, put this in front of you all today, and then we'll take it forward. Yeah. I think you all know, I'll start with the base number. I think since it's a move nation, it's very important for us to understand how are we moving as a nation. Number one, in the overall globe trade value shift, which is like 5 to 6 trillion, India is going to capture 20-25% of it. I think that's a fabulous trade shift going to happen in the next 5 years. And many companies are stepping back and thinking through how we can capture this opportunity. It's a good opportunity. Along with other countries, we're going to capture this. Many leaders, 70 to 80% of the leaders are stepping back and thinking, hey, how we can actually make the resilience to capture this opportunity, number one. How we can actually look at the short-term efficiency to capture this, the big number of 20-25%, like almost like 1.5 trillion opportunity, right? And I was noticing this document, Mr. Rajat and team, fabulous. There are 8 reasons to invest in India. Exactly, we're going to actually leverage this with all these 8 reasons for sure. So that way we are set. The stage is set for us, but how are you going to do is important, right? Mr. Anil, I think you talked about volatility. I think it's a very important point. Today, if you look at the volatility, in the last 10 years, it's got doubled. From 2015, 2019 to 2025, if you see at least a container freight prices, not only this, each and every element of the prices actually shifting. So it's like huge volatility. That's number one, right? Number two, not only volatility of the business, also the customer preferences are changing. Earlier it is speed. It's not about speed now. What is taking in the hot seat? Transparency and flexibility. Cost is being the foremost element for everyone. That is very clear. After cost, it was a speed. Now it's not a speed. It's about transparency to my ecosystem, flexibility in the entire ecosystem. That's where I think evolving in logistics today, right? So given this, what are the 4 evolving themes in India where each and every company started focusing? Number 1, Agentic AI enabled logistics. It can be a Gen AI co-pilot, it can be an agent-based execution, etc., right? So on and so forth. That is number 1, evolving. Number 2, how we can actually look at the digital plus physical convergence. And that's where integration of your Gati Shakti, ONDC, multimodal logistics, that's going to come along. The 3rd and 4th are business operating model. Are we going to restructure our network, and are we going to step back, think through our agility through resilience? I think coincidentally today conference, there are three sessions. The first theme, the session 1. Then second theme, whatever there, session 2. 3rd and 4th is going to be session 3. I think you're going to get all the 4 themes from this conference for sure. So given all this, I want to leave you 2 numbers. When somebody talk about AI, the 2 numbers is going to be with you now. Number 1, 88% of the companies are started deploying either AI, Gen AI or Agentic AI in one of the business function in logistics. So that's the first number, 88%. But second number is very important. 83% of the company have not seen any impact on the table. EBITDA impact on the table through the AI journey. That's not it happened. Only 5-6% of the impact of the companies shown impact. This have a lot of complications, right? Are we going to resolve is important. So 88, 83 friends. If 5-6% of the company able to see it, you also can see it, right? And that's where the Agentic AI on top of your AI is going to bridge the real value proposition. Otherwise, it's going to be very tough. End of the day, the manpower reduction won't happen, right? Well, I'll have this logistics load planner on top of AI. He's a 30-year-old guy. He knows everything in the field. Let me have an agent also. Let me have this load planner also. I'll decide over a period of time. How do you say the number then? I think that's a important game plan evolving. The Agentic AI, I think every time is a buzzword, but I'm trying to simplify this Agentic AI for all of you guys, okay? Number 1, it's actually looking from a context of sense. It helps you on the foundation of data. Be it a master data optimization, be it a track and trace optimization, etc. So that is first one. That is the first layer, foundation layer. Second layer is intelligence layer. It's going to help you in executing the control tower. You will have control tower in place, but how are you going to execute the AI-based control tower? Through agents. That's where the decision, the intelligence layer. The third bucket is acting. The agent AI will act, will actually execute stuff. It actual execution layer. How do I do a scheduling in my warehouse and so on and so forth. The fourth layer is improvement. How we can actually bring the performance layer. So all the 4 layers is going to come on top of your ERP system, TMS systems, and so on and so forth. And that's where a cutting edge TMS platform today like SAP or whoever it is, right? So enabling agents on top of the current setup. The numbers what you see in the right hand side is not proven, This is what expected to come along. Like good reduction of labor, but I can guarantee you that that number will not come immediately because I want to have both agent and my planner. And the other numbers are expected to kind of realize over the period of time, right? See, today you might ask Ganesh, control tower execution is there for the last 20 years. Is there, right? Yes, optimization is smart in logistics control tower, but transparency and trust, how coming along is where I think the complexity, right? So today the complexity is, I'm very hard to interpret some results given by the optimization model, right? I have a routing optimization model, but how to interpret. And there are a few questions I cannot ask back the system. System number is system number. System answer, right? I cannot actually ask questions. I cannot actually de-bottleneck some of the response time. I probably cannot show the impact in an effective way, right? So it's a delayed suboptimal. And that's where the multi-agent systems are helping in 4 aspects. Number 1, decompose your complex problem into small and bring the explainability of your answers. If there is a platform, a TMS routing optimization platform is giving an answer, it will explain why the answer is better. And it acts as orchestrator. It collaborates autonomously across the layers. The last one is brings the trust, reliability. I think these 4 elements going to come, friends. That's where the agent is going to, there is a trade-off. There is high computational cost, investment element has to come along. Depends upon your foundation model and so on and so forth. But there is a change in the speed, trust, transparency, and flexibility, right? So from the black box optimization to a explainable intelligence is agentic AI. For a 30-second level, for a simpler explanation, right? Imagine a truck is delivering from Mumbai to Pune to Bangalore. How the agent AI will help? Number 1, routing agent. Hey, there is a traffic going to happen in Pune. Now, can a agent suggest alternate route? Yes, you can go via Nashik. Likewise, you can have a load optimization agent will tell you this load is not fully utilized, please do it, and so on and so forth, right? This is how the agent is going to help you and give you the explainable intelligence. That's where I think the game plan, right? So 4 things going to happen, friends. 1 is reporting. Agentic AI going to help you in terms of reporting. You can understand the reports well. It's not about report, just read, right? Understand. Show all trips. I have to understand this. Diagnostics, helps you in diagnostics. 3rd, simulation, what if simulations. The 4th, it actually improves suggestions. All of the 4 elements going to come along. So it's about, instead of building reports, you simply ask agent, it will tell you the answer. I don't need to have, otherwise I'll have a 40, 50 reports there. Who will go through the reports? Who have a time to go through reports? And understand not just what the plan is, but why decisions are made. Why this route? Why this loading pattern? Why this actually, this particular transport vendor, and so on and so forth, right? And test decision, you make them implement before you make them implement, right? That's where you see the impact instantly. See the impact instantly through the agents, right? And finally, it also moves from an insight to the action. So all this is going to happen, friends. Today, the agentic AI in a value chain of the logistics, it's going to cut across, help you. Let's say from a ferry commercial, it actually acts as a demand sensing agent. From a logistic commercial, it's going to act as a lead generation agent for a logistic service provider. In the ferry operations, it's going to be like a crew planning agent and so on and so forth, right? This, I share this slide. So this is where I think cutting across the value chain is going to kind of impact the fabulous, the decision making, right? If you take a commercial for a 20-second level, right? For a logistic commercial, for a logistic service provider, it helps you in the short-term spot buy. It helps you in the long-term lead as well. That means, how do I do a spot buy? What are the different agents I should have it? How do you do a lead generations? What are the different agents I should have it? If you ask this question, yes, this is how the agentic AI for a spot buy works. I have a planner. I have a capacity analyzer agent. We'll have a capacity listener agent. So planner is only one. You will actually have all the 4 stack of agent, which is analyzer and listener, and you run the show for a spot buy. So it understands the underutilized lane in my business. Fine, these are the underutilized lanes. Can actually find the spot market opportunity instantaneously over the scale. Then I think it's fine to figure out what is optimal bidding. So all of this 4 activity, you don't need to have 4 different people. I have one planner who kind of take the agent and go on. Likewise, in lead also, yes, I have a 3 different agent along with the listener who can actually do a lead generation efficiently. So that's the game plan, friends, right? So many companies have started doing it from a user industry, be it Amazon, Siemens, P&G, consumer and e-commerce and quick commerce industry are definitely on the forefront. So that's going to happen today, friends. And many of the user industry will actually learn this and take this to next level. So what changes for a logistics planner using Agentic AI? Number 1, decision in seconds, not hours, right? Number 2, full transparency for your ecosystem, behind every recommendations, every decisions. And third, ability to simulate before acting. You see the impact and act it. And with this note, we are also going to release a white paper which is on Agentic AI enabled market intelligence across logistics. That white paper is going to be really awesome. There are 36 use cases across the value chain, how we can think through the Agentic AI. So that's a white paper which we released today. We have written from a process industry context. It will get released by Mr. Rajat. But that actually will set the base for you to begin the journey. So with this, the 3 sessions is going to be a top-notch for you, which is actually almost matching with your evolving 4 trends. All the best for all of you, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ganesh. That was a very passionate, resounding, ominous issue of what AI is going to do or what it has been already doing. Maybe if I can take a leaf out of what you were saying, you showed 10 organizations, 10 global organizations is how they're utilizing Agentic AI or generative AI for various functions. Maybe, in your next presentation somewhere use 10 of Indians which are doing. Maybe I'll pitch in one that SafeX is awesome. Helping with. And you stole my thunder somehow. I was going to announce that Mr. Rajat Saini is going to release a report today for Agentic AI enabled market intelligence for specialty chemicals. But yes, that is going to come up very soon. For the moment, let me welcome Mr. Vineet Majgaonkar, Chairman, CII Institute of Logistics, Solutions, Technology, Automations and Robotic Stars Forum. And he's also, as his day job, Chairman and Managing Director, Armstrong Dematic, to deliver a special address to all of us, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Ganesh just spoke about AI, and I can just close my address by saying that what he said, we do. But nevertheless, I'll try to put my thoughts in about 5 minutes and leave most of the time for our chief guest to speak so that we can hear his precious words. If you look at the evolution of logistics in the past few years, I founded this company in 1999, and when warehouse automation was really a moonshot, and hence I named the company Armstrong. And since then, I have seen all the various spectrum of evolution of this industry for the last 27 years. Traditionally, all the CEOs or the business owners are obsessed with the product or customers, and which is fair. All successful businesses ought to be obsessed with their customers and their products. But in the first decade of our business, what I saw was that most of these CEOs and business owners literally forgot, that they need to link their products with the customers. And the link between these products and customers is all the people sitting in this room here. Logistics, as we call it. And the first decade of 2000s almost was kind of experimenting of how to automate, robotize, but experimenting. But the real momentum started gaining in the second decade of 2000s. And that too, there were certain macro aspects which started adding to the scale. The first macro aspect was, as you know, in 2007, India for the first time crossed $1 trillion. In the subsequent 7 years, in 2014, it did the second $2 trillion. In the subsequent 7 years, it did the third $3 trillion, and so on. So every almost 6-7 years, we kept on adding $1 trillion to our economy. From 2014 to 2024-25, almost 250 million Indians moved from the sub-Saharan African kind of income group, which is $1,500 per annum, to the Eastern European kind of income group, which is like $13,000. And that made that middle class population in India to the tune of almost 450 million. This chunk of consumers which got added to our economy started demanding goods and started demanding goods in a specific way. That started adding scale, and with scale, the complexity went on rising. Ideally, the traditional CEOs or the owners of businesses would love to have a magic wand, and the magic wand would just transport a product to their customer, and they would like to skip the entire logistics chain. But unfortunately or fortunately, we live on this planet called Earth, which has got gravity and which needs physical movement of goods to happen. And that adds all the complexity of seasons, the complexity of generations, the complexity of geopolitics. And if there is only one industry which bears the brunt of all these complexities, it is the logistics industry. It is never the product and not the customer. And it has gone unnoticed for decades what this industry deserves to be addressed with. And fortunately, in the recent past, especially in the last 10 years, the Indian government especially has taken some very good steps, including having a Ministry of Logistics and so on, and in a very industrious way has literally rebuilt the logistics sector of our country and trying to bring down the cost from 13% to 8%. Complexity is the enemy of execution. And when scale and complexity meet with each other, that's a perfect recipe for a chaos. And today, we have both. In order to address this, there is only one way to handle the physical complexity. You go towards automation and robotics. And to handle the market complexity, you look at software and actually AI. So AI is the only solution for that. So where does the scope of AI actually start? So first of all, and of course Ganesh has elaborated it, but I'll just summarize it. It starts with prediction of the trends, and better the predictions, smoother is the logistics. And these predictions are not in the traditional way of, I call it the dumb predictions or the dumb forecast, which is you take the last year's data, put a multiplier of 10% year on year, and then say that, okay, next year is going to be this. That's the dumbest way of forecasting anything, and all of you sitting here know that it doesn't work. So the only intelligent way of forecasting demand is to churn out information out of the big data. All those big data engines which are processing the intents of the users and throwing outputs, and having access to that intent is very important. And that big data, by the very definition, it's big data. It is impossible in any human capacity or in the capacity of traditional software platforms to decipher any information out of the big data. It's only AI who can do that. As we all know, in the Christmas of 2023, when we were expecting Santa Claus, there came also Santa Claude. And with that, things changed. This AI has really become a boon for predicting the trends and demand forecasts. The second piece that AI delivers is responsiveness. So once you can predict things more definitively, how quickly a system responds to those predictions becomes very important. And on the physical front, again, fast responsiveness can be gained only by robotics and automation. But on the information front, It's only AI that can help you attain that responsiveness. The third bit which I would propose that where AI should be deployed, and we as Armstrong have been deploying, is what we call system hardening, which means that your entire operations should be first of all capable of logging every single bit of data which we do. For example, in a single automation solution that we provide, we log thousands of IOs every 100 milliseconds. So at every 1 second, there are millions of records which get logged. Now, if you have millions of records getting logged every second, you can imagine that you can't do anything with that unless you have AI to decode that. And then decoding it even in numeric form also becomes difficult. So some of our creative engineers, they have created a platform called Maya VS, in which we just dump the data and AI reads that data and creates a complete virtual reality like a Maya jar. It creates a virtual reality of how that physical situation must have panned out. And this is a solution, by the way, which my engineers have developed. We are already using it in our live systems. I'm not talking anything hypothetical here. This is very much happening here in India, and many of you must be using it. And in the next session, definitely we'll be seeing many uses of such applications. So, hardening your systems, when you have all the data logged all through your operations, what lessons you can learn and how can you harden your systems, performances, and operations through that learning of the mistakes that have happened in the past that are seen by through the data. So that system hardening, that is the third bit which AI can really bring to the table very uniquely, which nothing else, no other tool can do. And last but not the least, at the advent of AI, I used to funnily say that, the work of writing has lessened, but the work of reading has increased. People have been using AI to just write emails and communicate with each other, which is again the most dumbest use of AI. But in the process, I'm sure most of you keep getting huge emails, which you don't know where to start reading and where to end reading. I mean, why do you read those emails? But anyways, that's the dumbest use of AI, and I'm not talking about that. But that's just an indication of, if we do not look at elevating the competencies of the people who are working with us, then any amount of discussions on AI won't result into any conclusions or any benefits. So I would sincerely urge you to, first of all, set your AI KPI for your organization for the year. Select people who are innovative within the organization, and believe me, they are only 3%. Empower them, give them the APIs to hold, dovetail the rest of the organization to what these 3% are doing, and then calibrate yourself every year based on what KPI you had set. I think this is the recipe to implement AI and make it a reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vineet. I'm glad you mentioned that example. I actually had a similar case. Somebody was telling me about this gentleman who keeps sending emails which are AI written. But this smart fellow in my office, what he's done is he's used those emails, he copies them, puts it into what is that called, Chat GPT, and says, okay, what is this guy going to tell me? What is this guy trying to say? So those AI written emails are put into AI so that they can be sent, kind of cruxed into a bullet point and say, all right, this is what this fellow is trying to say. So sorry, that's how life is going about. Sorry, you were saying something?
There is Cowork which you don't even have to put that. So just install Cowork on your desktop and tell it to do this. So whatever dump of emails you receive, it will automatically do it.
Sorry. Sorry, fellows. I'm a little old school, still trying to do all my writing myself. But in the meanwhile, I must now thank Vineet and Ganesh for putting context to the current day AI world that we are kind of part of. Next up, I am going to invite Mr. Rajat Saini. A brief about him. As I mentioned, he's CEO and MD of NICDC and Chairman of NICDC Logistics Data Services. the reason I this time want to make sure that there's an introduction, I want to mention this along with a client testimonial, right? So here we are at SafeX. We are a client of NICDC, but I must tell you, I think the real good context was set by Dr. Ganesh in one of his presentation slides. I'm not sure if all of you recall. He mentioned that the top two line items which a logistics practitioner was looking at earlier was cost and speed. And now they have gone from cost and speed to cost and transparency, right? So if anyone was, if anyone can carry that flag with pride, that is NICDC, because NICDC has been able to, bring a great amount of transparency to logistics systems in India. We at Safe Express, and I'm using this as a client testimonial for what we do, we at Safe Express are using NICDC's ULIP very vociferously. Go ULIP, in case you guys have not checked it out, please do. Allows variety, a long variety of cargo on road, on ship, on air to be tracked and made available in a transparent manner. We are using two of their modules, two of the modules of NICDC. One is something where we've done integration with Vahan, and the other one with Sarthi. So the one with Vahan allows, so Safe Express has India's largest fleet, about 14,000 trucks in the country. So what we do is every time the truck is getting loaded, it goes through a small API-based check with the Go ULIP dashboard, and it allows us to cross-check whether that truck, which is going to be loaded just now, has done all its checks and balances in terms of insurance being complete, the permit being complete, no on-road offenses being there, and so on and so forth. So that way it gets a green signal, good to go for loading. In a much the similar vein is Sarthi, where every driver who is kind of riding those trucks, or every driver who's onboarded in our system for the first time, and virtually every time when he's going on road, based on the driving license, we kind of get to check whether, first of all, whether the driving license is correct or not, is not fake, maybe in chance, and most importantly, whether there's any offense on the road or vagaries of that nature. So it helps us being safer, a smart citizen, smart corporate citizen at that level. And we have to thank Go ULIP for that, and in that sense, NICDC. So with that as a backdrop, and there are, I tell you, we are a domestic service company. We are not an international service provider. There are tons of applications which are EXIM related also, which ULIP and NICDC helps. I'll not steal your thunder, Mr. Saini. With this, I will ask you to please step up and we have got to inaugurate that report. Yeah, all right. So this report is awaited. So there's a report which you have to release, as well as also give us your inaugural address. Oh, I thank you. So this is a Go Green report, no release, no tape, no nothing. Consider the report having got released. So to your address, Mr. Saini, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and a very good morning to all the esteemed guests. Thank you to CII Institute of Logistics for inviting me here. So when Anumati ji came to ask me to come here, I said I would be very happy, but we don't do anything related to logistics. I will be a misfit. I would be happy to come and learn, because all of you know about logistics much more. So a lot of time people think that NICDC, this National Industrial Corridor Corporation, we must be related to logistics, but we are not. most of the time. But I will still try to justify my presence here by saying something about logistics. So, industrial corridors as a concept was it came in government parlance in last 10-15 years. A lot of work has happened over last 10, 12, 13 years. So how we have tried to improve logistics, I'll come to the soft part later, but this was the first organization where government asked us to look at things in the corridor perspective, as in generally when government plans, it's okay, these are the states, this is where I'm going to do intervention, or these are the districts. It's the administrative point of view. But what NICDC did, and I should thank the government and our first CEO, Amitabh Kanji, was our first CEO of NICDC. At that time, there was only DMICDC, Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor Development Corporation. So the perspective planning takes care. So it saw Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor with the backbone of Western Dedicated Freight Corridor and some area on both sides of that DFC. So DFC is around 1,500 kilometer long, and then you can just multiply it by 200, so around 3 lakh square kilometer area. How to develop that as an industrial ready area, where all to have the greenfield smart cities, where all to have the industrial parks, and what are the last mile connectivities, considering we have already identified the transportation spine. And from there, this whole concept of corridor and planning for industrial corridors, and then the logistics in the corridors came. And based on that only, NICDC was also asked to do a lot of work related to soft logistics, of which Logistic Data Bank and ULIP and multiple other projects are a part of. So a lot of infrastructure interventions that government has done in last 10 years. All of us are aware that we have had kind of an infra revolution in last 10 years, which has led to reduction in logistics cost by multiple estimates. And the predictability, the speed, the cost of logistics have come down. A lot of those infrastructure interventions were identified in the perspective plans that were made for multiple corridors. Now, from there, as said, as was told in the earlier presentations also, that we are moving towards an era. If I talk about the logistics, I'll stop on my industrial corridor bit or industrial cities bit. In logistics, again, what government is trying to do as far as the software or the soft bit is concerned, or the data bit is concerned, it is trying to solve the coordination problem. And in that coordination problem, we have developed these platforms called ULIP, which now has more than 2,000 companies. Most of them are private companies, and I think most of them are actually startups. We are having around 1 crore hits per day, the API hits, and it's no rocket science. It's basically getting all the data that resides in multiple government ministries, multiple databases at one place, not by copying the data, but by providing a unified access to that data. And if there are so many hits happening, then there must be people who are using this platform, and it must be reducing somebody's cost somewhere. That is the assumption. And now the next step would be to build it or transform it into something like a national logistic master place. So these are multiple things that government has been trying to do, and all these have come together under this umbrella called National Logistics Policy. So what we are witnessing is kind of a structural shift. Various platforms like ULIP, ELOCs, LDB, they are redefining how these networks are being planned. In fact, logistic data bank that I have mentioned, it also, so it provides end-to-end visibility for all the containers, and that is something we are also, we had to invest in hard infrastructure also by putting the RFID readers and RFID tags on each, so readers at all the important points. So if you go to our website ldb.co.in and just put your container number, many of you might have used it. So every month, I think around 30-40 lakh container unique container searches happen on that particular platform, and the actionable analytics that have come out of over last 10 years of running of that platform, the way we have seen the dwell time decreasing on multiple Indian ports, LDB has had a role in identifying the problem. We have recently, since last year, also provided tracking on high seas using LDB. As far as ULIP is concerned, I already told how it integrates 45 systems across multiple ministries. It offers 137 different types of APIs, and there are some state-specific data sets that are also integrated through this platform of ULIP. In fact, Mr. Syal was talking about Sarthi, Vahan, e-Chalan, etc. So Sarthi, initially the database required driving license number, and because it's private data, it also required date of birth, so that we comply with the rules of this digital data protection. But there was a demand from the market that you don't give all the details, but at least tell us whether the license is valid or not, and it is very difficult to get date of birth of each driver. So we talked to states and Morth, and very soon we are going to launch something called Sarthi 2.0 API, where just by putting the license number, you get to know that whether the license is valid and are there any challans that are issued, and the type of license. So we comply with the rules as well as the demands of the stakeholders are met. So this is how we keep on, we keep on interacting with the stakeholders, trying to identify their problems. And eLogs has been really helpful in that. In the eLogs portal, a lot of you may have used it, where you put the problem, and then the problem is taken up by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. They do these stakeholder discussions where not just the private sector stakeholders, but also multiple ministries and departments come, and they try to solve this issue. In NICDC also, we do the contribution to logistics apart from planning. What we are also doing, so just to put it in context, in India there are more than 4,200 industrial parks, having around 20 lakh acres of developed industrial land, and this is where most of the formal manufacturing is happening. So apart from this, there are 100, 200 odd industrial clusters where, so clusters like Moradabad, Greater Noida, or a cluster like Surat, Tirupur, Coimbatore, where even outside there is a huge vibrant ecosystem of industries. But you would definitely find some industrial park either as the nucleus, as in the whole cluster started because of that industrial park, or the cluster was there but later on the state government or government of India made some industrial park. So industrial parks are a very important intervention which any government does. So to have some kind of logistical framework of all these industrial parks, to ensure that there is ease of doing business, to ensure that the goods that are manufactured in these industrial parks can reach any location, whether domestic or international. There we identify, through NICDC, we identify the interventions and then we prescribe, and that has been, I would say, the forte of NICDC, that we just don't plan the industrial hubs, but we also plan the logistical connectivity for these industrial hubs. And this thinking over last 10-12 years, with the advent of national logistic policy, with the advent of the corridor thinking, this thinking has percolated to the state government level, even to the local government levels, that the any intervention in isolation may not yield the best results. We need to think not just about the locational facilities, but what businesses, domestic or international, what they are looking for is also the logistics, because that is where the whole competitiveness, that is where the whole efficiency comes in. So and similarly, the private sector has also, in my understanding, is coming up, where they are also, at least the bigger guys, are not thinking of just making some warehouse somewhere. There is a lot of formalization, there is a lot of aggregation that is happening across all sectors in logistics. So from the isolated warehouses, we are moving to integrated logistics ecosystems, and through things like AI and we will be moving to a system level planning, and those things will become much easier to do. Even the smaller players would be able to do that. Like, I'll give you one small example. When we talk to small transporters, when we are building the national logistic e-marketplace, a very big problem they tell us is about the return freight discovery, which is not the case with the bigger players in the transportation sector. So with the technological interventions, with especially with AI, and you told that on the move you can plan. I think these kind of problems, even for the smaller players, can be taken care of. It will need some coordinated effort from all the bigger stakeholders, from the government, but this is something maybe in 1 or 2 years we should be able to have tools where the return freight discovery becomes easier. We are also, you must have seen the kind of multimodal logistic hubs that are coming up in India. Various private players are doing it, railways is doing it, Morth is doing it. We are also doing some of the, in fact, the biggest ones in India, whether in Dadri or Nangal Chaudhary, those hubs are being done by NICDC. And through all these things, we expect, and when I'm saying we, I think I can talk on behalf of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, that the time has come where all the interventions that have happened, whether at the policy level or at the hard infrastructure level, they will started coming together, and we would be seeing the results very fast. Already, in fact, a report by NCAR said that the logistics cost have come down from 14% to around 9.5 to 10%. We still need to work more upon the predictability. So you said about cost, you said about flexibility, transparency and all. We have really improved on that. There is some, so when I see that dwell times, yes, the dwell time is the median of that is how we calculate the dwell time of containers at any port, etc. But when I see the variation in dwell time, if you just plot it on the graph, the variation on a port in Singapore, on a Rotterdam, is much lesser than the variation in Indian ports. I think that is the next step which we want to take care of. We want to take care of the multiple no entry timings that come up, and especially when you are crossing the the towns and cities, and these so all these things which require intervention not just at the national level, but at state level, at district level, at the local government level. Things are percolating, and with the right intention and with the right mix of stakeholders, I think we should be able to make things better. I would like to stop just with the last thing. So recently, you must have heard about a recent announcement by development of 100 new industrial parks under Bhavya, which is around 35,000 crore scheme. With this, government wants to increase or improve the level of infrastructure that is being planned in India, the industrial infrastructure specifically. And I'm giving it as an example, not just, okay, one is, okay, we want to improve the level of infrastructure in industrial parks. Also, there is a component of external connectivity. This is an example of how important government is thinking about logistics, that not just the industrial park facilities, those are relevant, but also the external connectivity. And it is not just the last mile connectivity where 1 or 2 kilometers of road is being planned. For each project, we will ensure what is the connectivity to airport, what is the connectivity to the nearest port, what is the connectivity to nearest railway siding, or if there is none, do we have sufficient volume that we need to plan for a railway siding. And this is how holistically each and every project is being planned and approved. Not just things are not being seen in isolation, but in most of the infrastructure related interventions, logistics, even at the policy level, has become an important point. So the conferences like this, and with the right kind of stakeholders, all of you are basically working more for logistics and how to use the infrastructure that is being created. I hope that these kind of events can help us in coming to conclusions which eventually come into the policy space also, and we can implement those policies. I again thank you, CII, for inviting me over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Saini. You started with a humble statement saying that you are doing very little about logistics, but if I had to go through your presentation all over again, it's kind of everything about logistics. And that's how, measures of policy are. At times, you are able to execute some policy measures which actually have a tumble-down effect of how logistics can be done better. And these are some examples. Finally, to the end of this session, may I request, please, Mr. Abhishek Prakash, Chief Executive Officer of Bloomer India, to deliver our closing remarks, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity, and good morning to all distinguished guests, policymaker, industry leaders, infrastructure developers and partners from across the industry ecosystem. It's a pleasure to be part of Logistic Tomorrow Move Nations, and I think we heard all our presentations and policies, how it is impacting the themes which has been made over here, this move nations through logistics tomorrow. So I think everyone is participating in this, and India's logistics sector is at inflection points driven by a rapid growth in consumptions. That's the important aspects. The scale and complexity of the growth demand a shift from incremental improvement to system level transformations. One of the most important transitions underway is the move from fragmented to infrastructure towards the integrated, which is very important, and point which has been explained by each one of us, each one sitting over here and started in the presentations. So multimodal networks, large distribution centers and hub and spoke models require material handlings and sorting solutions that are reliable to scale and designed for long service life, though it takes times to get accepted this technology and solutions in the market to that maturity level. I think Mr. Vineet has already explained in his talk that how this industry has matured and accepted these things in the logistic and in this automations. So another clear trend in the integrations of intelligence control and data-driven operations into a physical infrastructures. We are the themes which we have started with an AI, and see, it's very easy to say that everyone is using AI, and I think, and I would say that it started with the buzzword of digital and AI, and everybody has started, but most of them are using it for the email writing, unfortunately. So unless until we use this data as a commodity, it's of no use. So unless until we define that what is the end result of these data or this AI, we can't we are not utilizing to the extent what it is meant for. So equally important in operations resilience, which has been a topic, and the logistics system must be able to withstand demand shocks, labor constraints, climate impact, and supply chain disruptions. Designating infrastructure that can scale, adapt, and recover quickly is now a core industry responsibility. For India in particular, the opportunity lies in building future-ready logistics assets from the outset, designating correctly today, whether in airport, ports, industry corridor, warehouses, and parcel hubs, will determine cost competitiveness and reliability of the next generations. So the logistics is always been a word that this cost required to be reduced, and unless until we have these integrations, we cannot optimize this. Moving forward, and the shared industry challenges to clear to convert growth into structured capability, complexity into efficiencies, and ambition into global benchmark executions. We started the first session with Mr. Anil Maths on affordability demonstration. The growth path has been already shown how the India has been ready for. Thanks, Dr. Ganesh, for your powerful presentations and wonderful, which gives an insight of nation building for tomorrow and how you have set the context that how things are evolving and shifting from the speed to flexibility and transparency. That's the more very important aspects. Mr. Vineet has already demonstrated how the industry has grown and accepted, or I would say the matured decade by decade to accept this automations and automation words. And thanks, Mr. Rajat, to explain how the government is also integrating with the industry partners and making a part into a revolutions and reducing the cost of logistics by doing all means. The government is part of every aspects. I've seen the presentation, which was quite insights, and his humble statement that he is not part of logistics is no more correct, I would say. So you are doing a lot for the country, and we all are ready for that. And this has his presentation demonstrated that how government is integrated themselves as in with all industry partners and the industry veteran to make it possible and make it, I mean, the problem statements of each aspects has been addressed by them. So thank you so much, each one present here. Wishing you all every enlightened and effective sessions. I think it's quite a powerful sessions has been planned for that. So have a good day to everyone. And I would like to thank all the sponsors like Armstrong Dematic, DP World, Freight Tiger, Hexagon Technology, Horizon Industrial Park, Safe Express, TCI Supply Chain, and Boimer. Thank you very much. I think